Okay, so the meeting is resumed and we've got the exec report in front of us. We will break at 1:30 for Nathan to give us some advice on the late item, Harrington Street. Okay. So first of all, infrastructure.
So I need to look it up quickly here. Yeah, so this is a sprinkling of updates from across the infrastructure division, which would not otherwise get any attention or much attention. Under transport, we have given an update on the 5 major projects. I just wanted to highlight the fact that, of course, the Connecting Mount Maunganui has changed from the wording that we've got in this report. Other than that, happy to take it as read and take any questions.
Sorry, just a quick one, Nick. In terms of the waste, there's some commentary in there about the LGFA funding, and we've received a 2%, 2 basis point discount on debt issued for. So I assume this is for particular projects where we deliver on some environmental or enhanced carbon reduction projects.
No, so that's on the local government funding generally from debt issued from the 1st of July. But it's the performance or our intent of, for instance, the actual investment plan, etc., that has given us that credibility to gain that discount.
Well, I just did some quick had a look the other day or the other night at the New Zealand Green Investment Finance, which is kind of a government initiative looking at financing green types of projects. Do we have access to that kind of funding to be able to deliver that type?
Yeah, we do. So that's one of the funding options that we're looking at for Tauranga, for instance, and projects like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stephen.
Question on the bus shelters. It's good to see progress happening on that because it very frequently comes up at the Public Transport Committee meeting. But as I recall, it was about 140, 150 in total. And I see that there are 17 shelters currently on hold due to the Bay of Plenty Regional Council network changes. So I'm just wondering, what's the timeline for those to be completed?
Sorry, I couldn't tell you from the top of my head. This has been not contentious, but it's been an issue in the whole suite of build of the bus shelters, of course, because if there are changes to any of the lines and all of a sudden the bus route goes down the other side of the street, and if there's a change, then we need to redo it, of course. So I think it's a matter of finalising those, or where there still are some routes in doubt following the most recent review. But in terms of time, I couldn't tell you from the top of my head, but I can find that out and get back to you.
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of the Regional Council's business case for Trentford, and even their temporary routes were delayed. And Tom was saying 2027 was kind of the revised business case for the public transport services. So it implies that we might have to wait that long.
No, so that's the through routing. So this is more immediate than that. So this is tweaks to the current routes and in the current sort of hub and spoke model.
Something we need to keep track of at the Public Transport Committee meeting, I think.
Anything else?
I can give you an update on the water treatment plant, the TELAC audit under waters that we talk about, clause 15. We've passed that with flying colours, and really positive commentary came back from that TELAC audit. So there'll be a report come through that we can share the highlights of it at some point in the near future. But just wanted to give you that immediate update, and also I can give you an update on the speed management feedback that we've had as well.
Yep.
I'll just look up the numbers.
When's that coming back to us on one of the reports? I saw the timeline was it was coming back in July for a decision. Won't be anyone here.
No, there won't be. No, so we'll have to have another look at the timing for that one. We have had 670 responses so far. 68% in favour of 30 kilometres around schools. And most of those proposals, as you know, are around variable speeds. And 49% in favour of 30 kilometres in the city centre. So quite a difference between the two points of feedback that we're getting. But yeah, 670 responses. That's a good level of feedback. And the public survey ends this coming Friday. So then we'll wrap that up and provide a report, and we should be able to do that in May.
A13 would be good.
That would be good, but I'm not sure we could do that.
It'll be better than July.
Yeah.
There won't be a
well,
council meeting in July.
well-
There won't be a council meeting until late August.
I will put heat on that. Thank you.
Okay, community services.
Thank you. Other than the fact that it's another summary of a list of fabulous community projects and initiatives, so just quickly, two things. One is we've already got 300 friends of the museum, which has only been about 3 weeks. So I mean, I think so we only keep making sure that number is quite high by July. And just a reference, I guess, that through the report, coming back to a comment you made, Chair, is there's quite a lot of initiatives that we regularly do, and some of them are highlighted in this report on the DEI and the inclusive city work that we do. So there's quite a lot happening already, so happy to take questions.
Barbara, in terms of, and I'm in paragraph 41, you talk about the recruitment process for the public art panel. It's just making sure that there is that connection to the urban design panel. We've talked about that previously, so just making sure that happens.
Absolutely, that's been taken on board by the team.
We're going to talk about para 49.
Of glass.
No.
And this is in terms of the there being the cleaning and then the sealing in terms of Memorial Park, war memorial features. It does show, though, in terms of what good maintenance of things such as this and facilities means, and really making sure that things like this are on some type of regular maintenance program, because it's come up, I went past it the other day, it's come up really well, but not letting things get to the stage where there is such a dramatic change between what was there and now what we have after some cleaning and sealing.
I was asked on Thursday if we'd redone it.
Look, I agree that the difference shows that we're doing something, but it's a terrible situation we get ourselves into, that we have to have such a difference. And so there's a lot of work being done by Alison's team, and particularly city operations, ensuring that things like this, and gardens, some of the gardens that we're doing up now are just absolutely let go. We have a better regime. So we're spending quite a bit of time trying to get that in order. But of course, it's also financial. We need to make sure we've got the money as well.
It's probably my point, Chair, also, in terms of, it's all very well us building things, but it's having it well ingrained in the organisation and around the governance table in terms of maintaining what we have. And another example is on the corner, on the roundabout of Highway 36 and Pies Par Road, by the roundabout, by the cemetery there is it looks like there's a carving there that was put in, I imagine, when the road was opened, and it's had no TLC since then. So it might be a Waka Kotahi one, I'm not sure. But again, another good example. Entrance to the city And here's something that's looking pretty tatty.
I've written it down.
Anything else? Yeah, shared.
Just on that one, Bill, I think I was involved in some of that work, I'll tell you at the time. So yeah, it has been neglected, I think. Just Barbara, just want to give a shout out, I suppose, to the events team over the summer in particular. We've had some really great events. The sporting events, the community events, the cultural events, and a couple of the events I've been to had some really good feedback from those organisations, the sporting organisations in particular, about how helpful and responsive our teams have been to accommodate their various needs through their events. So I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to the team.
Thank you for that.
Okay, Chief Financial Office.
Like the report is read, I think it's fairly self-explanatory in there.
So with the Air New Zealand board visiting us next week, this week, right? Average of 90% loading is our biggest problem. I have to say the airport is coping well with it, and the last couple of times I've found a car park. So that's all looking much better.
So extra car parking, that has opened up now, and there'll be more in the next few weeks, but yeah.
Anything more? No. Strategy, growth and governance.
Take as read, the only point I'd like to just talk about is the campaign for candidates for the Tauranga City Council elections. That has now started and nominations have opened. So you're starting to see some billboards and radio advertising, and there's a candidate evening for tomorrow with the electoral officer, and we have 37 people registered for that. So starting to get a bit of interest coming through. So any nominations that are received will be posted each day on our website. The first ones will be made public this afternoon, so 4:30, and then the daily ones will be just updated so we can see who's been nominated for which wards and for mayor as each day goes by.
Anything else? Corporate services.
So take the report as read, just call out one item. We're in the process of establishing a trial to test smart bins. This is at 92. A smart bin can determine the level and the weight and potentially even the temperature of what's inside the bin as well.
Not going to talk to me, is it, when I put something in it and say, oh, this is wrong.
Would you like it to talk to you? No, not yet.
I think that's great. I really do think that's a great innovation. Yeah. It will please Sue Hodgson. Okay, nothing else in there? Unexpected turnover, still good? Still low by comparison?
Still low. The market softened because of some announcements out of central government. Local government in the major cities has always been 15 to 20, but it's over 20 for a lot of them.
Wow.
We're tracking at least 50% lower than that. And it should stay there even with uncertainties in terms of a change to democracy, in part because of the market. Yeah.
All right, nothing else? Regulatory and compliance?
You just call out to a couple of the patterns that you'll observe in the figures we've provided. The building consent numbers remain really low, and for March this year, they're the lowest that we've received in 5 years. You'll see at paragraph 13, the figure there that shows what it means in terms of our housing supply, with new dwellings consented and completed well below forecast demand. This is a pattern that we're seeing nationally. We've got the National Construction Pipeline report for 2023 that forecasts that low to continue through to 2025 and then increase from about 2028 onwards. In contrast, our resource consents are up really high, and they're mostly land use and subdivision consent. So what we're hoping to see is you get the resource consents and the building consents will follow. And just a point in there about our limb review. So we have been reviewing the information of limbs in terms of what needs to be in there and what can we do to make them more the process itself more efficient, but also more user-friendly for people when they get a limb, because currently they can be several hundreds of pages long, and certainly not in plain English. So we're going through that process and we're working with the local legal community and the real estate community to make sure we get that balance right.
The only question I had really was the government have indicated, new government has indicated they want to make this public. Have you got any indication of how much more information they're talking about? Because we make all this public. Are they talking about including the, was it request for information or?
All information that relates to a property will need to be made public. There are ways in which we can do that outside of the LIM process, so having better information on our websites, and that will, you know, a LIM could simply refer to key information.
No, sorry, I was meaning the resource, the building consents and the resource consents. So the government's indicated that they want public notification of all of that. Have you got any indication of how much more they're going to need?
We're already providing the information through reporting to council. So we don't see that as a major burden. It's not going to reveal any new information. And as the report shows, our timeliness has been improving a lot over the last 12 to 18 months for both building and resource consent. So we're confident that there's not going to be any concerns raised through that process.
Where are we up to? City development.
Thank you. There's just so much going on, it's hard to pick out a couple of things. The city is transforming before our eyes, which is pretty exciting. Just of interest to note is foot traffic in the city centre is up compared to the same time last year, which is great. Media impact score is 3.7 in the last month, which is nearly off the charts. And we just got some data on occupancies in the city centre, and just had it updated, and ground floor is 82% occupied. And first floor is 88% occupied, second floor and above 96% occupied. So again, to the rhetoric or the, you know, the perceptions that businesses are fleeing the city centre, in actual fact, it's you know, pretty healthy. Always looking to attract more businesses, but the data says that you know, it is a relatively attractive place to be at this point in time. Happy to answer any questions.
Gareth, do want to compliment you. I've received many compliments on the tours that you're running and the conversations that you're having around the place, and I think that's really helping with that more positive attitude to what's happening in the city. So keep it up. But you're doing a great job with it.
Thank you. Yeah, we hosted the two local MPs.
Oh, they were buzzing
last week.
They were absolutely buzzing. It was quite phenomenal. They couldn't get it out when they came into the room fast enough to how much it had opened their eyes. Interesting, because I guess we just assume everyone knows, but there's so much happening. But, yeah.
We did our first tour for kind of the public, but for downtown Tauranga businesses and retailers. So we had about 25 we took on a tour. It was the first time that it was a group of people that you know, had a genuinely outside view of what's going on, and so it was interesting to hear their questions compared to, say, staff. But again, it was really positive, and some of them who are known for being a little bit negative in terms of the city centre, we worked pretty hard in changing their perceptions of, you know, what we're trying to achieve. Had the Minister of Police in town to talk about city safety, which was a really great opportunity to kind of share those stories and the difference we're making with Paul Mason on the ground and the work that the TTOC team are doing. So it's just, yeah, when you get out and speak face to face and tell people what collectively we're trying to achieve in the city centre, it's hard not to get excited and enthused.
Stephen.
I just wonder if there's any comparative stats. You won't have them now, but if you were to compare ourselves with, say, Hamilton or other cities, in terms of the occupancy rate, that would be definitely of interest. Certainly, it doesn't sit with the perception you would have if you walked up Devonport Road, for example. So that kind of wider story, I think, could be valuable.
Yeah, great question. We actually went to Hamilton not last week, the week before, met with the council, went on a city centre walking tour to see the development they've got going on, and then met with the business association. So they're going to send over their data so that we can do exactly that, although it's kind of a little bit apples and oranges in terms of comparisons, but that data's on the way. We can speak to it as part of our storytelling.
Bill?
Gareth, just a question around the Devonport Road car park. Am I correct to assume, given the 3-month civil works contract has commenced in mid-April, end of July, that'll be ready for use?
Correct. We wish it was earlier, but we ran into some asbestos issues.
Appreciate that.
And in particular found some in the concrete slab where that obviously just poured over some concrete and then done flooring. And when we actually came to dig it up, it was a bit of a mess. So it took longer to get out of there than we'd like. But yeah, exactly right, end of July.
The only other question I had really was to see if we could get before we finish, if we're able to have a site visit to Masonic Park and the construction site before we go, some stage.
Yep, I can chat to Mike and the team and we can organise that, no worries at all.
All right, nothing else? So would someone like to move that we receive the executive report? Thank you, Bill, and Stephen second. Any further discussion? All those in favour say aye. Against carried, thank you. So we have no late items in open. So would someone like to move the resolutions to go into public excluded for the reasons outlined? Thank you, Shad and Stephen second. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Anyone saying aye? Against? Carried. Thank you. So, yeah,